Hello! In this Coolgrad video, we're going to talk about studying at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. It's one of the most prestigious universities of the world, located in Massachusetts, close to Boston. And it's usually ranked #1 in the world in various disciplines. And you'll find a world of intellectual people out there who live in their own amazing world. And a lot of people who are at MIT, they don't want to get out of MIT. It's like a New Yorker's view of New York. They think it's the world. And people in MIT are so blissful, happy in a world of their own. I had friends who were students at MIT, PhD students, postdocs, and some of them, they got jobs in the IT industry, which were paying them more than $200,000 per annum. But they went there for a couple of months and they're like, idiots, I can't work with these idiots. I'm going back to MIT, even if I'm making only about $2,000 to $4,000 a month. I can't work with these idiots in the industry. And they would go back to MIT where they were in their own intellectual world. MIT is one of the most awesome, amazing universities of the world. And some of the most brilliant professors and students at an MIT. It's not a joke to get into MIT. And let's take a look at what it's like to study in MIT. So where is Massachusetts located, first of all? Massachusetts is a state. So it's Massachusetts. Remember, there is 2 S's here, and 1 S here, and then 2 T's over here. So that's Massachusetts. And it's abbreviated MA. So you see this red thing over here, this red color state over here, that's Massachusetts. And it's home to the city of Boston, which is the most popular city in Massachusetts. So from New York to Massachusetts, you'll be driving up north, anywhere from about 5 to 6 hours, or probably longer than that. Sometimes it might take even 7 to 8 hours, depends on the traffic. Somewhere from say 6 to 8 hours. So from driving up from New York to Massachusetts, and Massachusetts it has a lot of interesting art galleries, museums. So I have a separate video about the places to visit in Massachusetts. You can watch that video about the places to visit. But here I'm going to talk mainly about MIT. So this is Massachusetts, located in the Eastern time zone. So there's Eastern, and there's Central, and there's Mountain time zone, and Pacific time zone. So Massachusetts is on the East Coast, in the Eastern time zone. States bordering Massachusetts. So the states bordering Massachusetts include New Hampshire on the top, and Vermont also on the top. On the left we have New York. So New York, remember, is a state, and New York City is the most popular city in New York State. So there's New York State, and below that is Connecticut, and below that, and on the south we also have Rhode Island. Rhode Island is a very small state. So in Rhode Island we have the city of Providence, and Rhode Island is home to Brown University, an Ivy League university. So Connecticut is located just south of Massachusetts, and in Connecticut we have Yale University, another Ivy League university, and below that we have New York. So on the right we have Atlantic Ocean, and then we have in Massachusetts some of the top cities include, there's Amherst. There's one University of Massachusetts at Amherst. It's called UMass. And then we have Boston over here, and Cambridge, very close to Boston, hardly a few miles away. And there's Marlborough, there's Worcester. So these are some of the top cities of Massachusetts. And MIT and Harvard, 2 of the most popular universities of the world, are located over here, both of them. So there's a river over here called the Charles River, and alongside the Charles River you will find MIT and Harvard, both universities, located just a few miles of each other. So how did Massachusetts get its name? Story behind the name. Named after the Massachusetts Native Americans who originally inhabited the area. Means the people who live near the big hill. It gets its name from a Native American term used to describe the Native Americans who inhabited the area near the big hill. So the weather in Massachusetts, so the winters are really cold, I guess most people know that. Snows very heavily in the winters, freezing cold almost 4 to 5 months every year. So fall colors are resplendent in autumn. So the winters, you'll have a lot of snow and ice and blizzards and sub-zero temperatures. And the cold season lasts from December 5th to March 14th with an average daily high temperature below 45. It's like, minus 45 Fahrenheit. So minus 45 Fahrenheit is really, really cold. So, the average daily high temperature is around 45 degrees Fahrenheit. And the cold season, the temperatures goes sub-zero. So it will be somewhere from minus 20 to minus 30 Fahrenheit. So the warm season lasts from June 5th to September 14th with an average daily high temperature above 73 degrees Fahrenheit. Average annual rainfall about 48 inches, so they do get a lot of rain. The state of Massachusetts gets 8.9 or more inches of rain than the national average. So national average is about 39 inches, and Massachusetts gets about 9 inches more rain than the national average in the United States. Fall season in Massachusetts. So we have all these fall colors, beautiful colors. The beautiful river valleys that are dotted all over the state are ideal places to watch the leaves steadily change color and drop from the trees during fall season. The central region of Massachusetts and the Berkshire Mountains are the best places to experience fall in Massachusetts, while Route 2, otherwise known as Mohawk Trail, is a must visit. So you'll have colorful mountains and leaves with all colors, like red, green, yellow, orange, brown, yellow, all kinds of colorful leaves. It's like really beautiful in the fall season, that is usually say between October and late November. Massachusetts, some quick facts. Massachusetts is the 7th smallest state in the US. MIT, Harvard, and Boston University are located in Cambridge City along the Charles River. Don't confuse Cambridge City with Cambridge University located in the UK. So Cambridge is a city close to Boston in Massachusetts. And Cambridge is also the name of a university and a city in the United Kingdom. So the Cambridge in Massachusetts was named after the Cambridge in UK, but they are two different cities. A rich Indian community. So lots of Indians, lots of Indian restaurants and stores and stuff. Dozens of Indian restaurants in Massachusetts, especially in the Boston area. The Fig Newton was named after Newton in Massachusetts. It was not named after Isaac Newton, but Newton is a city in Massachusetts, and the Fig Newton was named after Newton in Massachusetts. MIT is not one of the 8 Ivy League universities. So the Ivy League universities are a specific 8 universities, which include Princeton, Cornell, Yale, Brown University, and University of Pennsylvania, a few universities. They're all in the northeast part, but MIT is not one of them. A lot of Indians seem to think that any top university is an Ivy League university. No. Ivy League is a league of 8 universities that collaborated in athletics and a lot of things. They formed a league. That's why they call it the Ivy League. MIT is not part of the Ivy League, but nevertheless, it's probably more prestigious than some of the Ivy League universities. The Boston Tea Party reenactment takes place in Boston Harbor every December 16th. So in history, we've all studied about the Boston Tea Party, where they threw all the tea bags into the ocean, and there was this historic event. So a reenactment happens on December 16th every year in Boston. So it's the Boston Tea Party reenactment. Top cities in Massachusetts. There's Boston, Amherst, Salem, Lowell, and Cambridge, some of the top cities. So let's talk about Cambridge in Massachusetts. It's very different from Cambridge in UK. Size about 40.7 square kilometers. Population about 110,000 as of the year 2016. Quick facts. Situated directly north of the city of Boston, across the Charles River. It was named in honor of the University of Cambridge in the United Kingdom. Hosts offices of major technology companies including Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and Akamai. So Akamai headquarters is in Boston. There's Biogen, Genzyme. These are like biotech companies, pharmaceutical companies. There's laboratories for Novartis, Teva, Takeda, Alnylam, Ironwood, Calabasas, Moderna Therapeutics, Editas Medicine, and support companies such as Cytel and smaller companies. E-commerce giants Staples and Amazon, they would be opening research and innovation centers in Kendall Square. So Kendall Square is a place where a lot of companies are located, and I think they have already opened their research centers there. So there are lots and lots of companies over there, and if you graduated from MIT or Harvard, believe me, jobs will come looking for you. You don't have to look for a job usually. Airports in and around Massachusetts. So how do you get to MIT? So Logan International Airport, Boston, so BOS. Logan is a very popular international airport. Barnstable Municipal Airport. You wouldn't be flying to a municipal airport, you would fly to an international airport if you're going from India or other countries. So there's Nantucket International Airport, Nantucket, Provincetown Municipal Airport, and then there's the Worcester Regional Airport. So most people would be flying to either Nantucket International Airport or like Logan International Airport. There's also the Manchester Airport, like close to like New Hampshire. It's also popular. And some people fly to like New York and then they just drive up there like 5 or 6 hours because they enjoy driving. But if you're coming from India for the first time, you'd probably be flying to like Logan International Airport, Boston. Top universities in Massachusetts. There's MIT in Cambridge, Harvard University also in Cambridge, University of Massachusetts, Amherst, Boston University, Boston, Tufts University in Medford. Tier 2 universities in Massachusetts. So we have Bridgewater State University, Fitchburg State University, Framingham State University, Lesley University, Western New England University, Northeastern University, Salem State University. So these are the top Tier 2 universities. And now we're going to talk about what it's like to study at MIT. So this is the logo of MIT, established in 1861. So a brief history of MIT. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, is a private research institute in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Founded in 1861 in response to the increasing industrialization of US, MIT adopted a European polytechnic university model and stressed lab instruction in applied science and engineering. The current 168-acre campus opened in 1916 and extends over 1 mile across the northern bank of the Charles River Basin. MIT, with 5 schools and 1 college which contain a total of 32 departments, is often cited among the world's top universities. So MIT has a 168-acre campus, maybe slightly bigger than that now, but it's nothing compared to the size of the campus of Stanford or Duke University. Stanford and Duke are about 8,300 acres. So that's like about 40 times the size. So my point is Stanford and Duke are about 40 times as big as campus, I'm just saying. So MIT is not a very big campus, but it's like a very popular, top-notch university. So MIT has produced about 84 Nobel laureates, 52 National Medal of Science recipients, 65 Marshall Scholars, 45 Rhodes Scholars, 88 MacArthur Fellows, 34 astronauts, and 2 fields medalists. So 84 Nobel laureates from this university, and that's a lot. So often undergrad and grad students will be taught by Nobel laureates. Now that's really great, isn't it? Quick facts about MIT. MIT was founded on April 10th, 1861, 2 days before the start of the Civil War. There are over 500 student groups on campus. You can join one or start your own. MIT's 33 varsity sports teams make it the largest D3 athletics program in the nation. MIT's motto is Mense Manus, which means mind and hand. So MIT's mascot is the beaver, nature's engineer. MIT is more popular as an engineering school than anything else. And remember, MIT doesn't have a medical school. Or there's a Harvard Medical School, but there's no medical school at MIT. MIT is more for like engineering and technology. And of course, a lot of physics too. So the MIT students can receive the greatly coveted pilot's license certificate if they complete PE classes in pistol, archery, fencing, and sailing. So there's this cool thing where you get a pilot's license, where you get to have a patch over your eye and get to be certified as a pilot. It's kind of a fun thing if you took classes in pistol, archery, fencing, and sailing. MIT entrepreneurship facts. So MIT is very well known for inspiring entrepreneurship. Here are some mind-blowing facts about MIT's entrepreneurs. About 25,800 active companies have been started or co-founded by living MIT alumni. 3.3 million people are employed by companies started or co-founded by living MIT alumni. Famous companies founded by MIT alums include Intel, Texas Instruments, Bose, Koch Industries, Dropbox, Campbell Soup, etc. The gross domestic product of a nation formed by businesses started by MIT graduates would be about $2 trillion. This would rank them as 10th in the world, equivalent to Italy, the UK, and Brazil. So MIT, as you know, produces a lot of top entrepreneurs and successful people. Quick facts about MIT. So MIT invented the first computer in Cambridge in 1928. You can view Whirlwind 1 at the MIT Museum. So this was one of the world's oldest computers, and you can view it in the museum. So look at all those gears and the wheels, and they're struggling to wait for such a long time to make a simple calculation. It seems like crazy now, but that's how it's all started. So this is a picture of the MIT campus. So this is the Charles River, and there's a freeway across the river, a bridge, and the MIT campus is all over here, and very close by you'll also see Harvard campus. So about 168 acres campus, 18 student residences, 26 acres of playing fields, 20 gardens and green space areas, more than 100 public works of arts, professors, about 1,036 professors, other teaching staff about 827, student to faculty ratio about 8:1, so for every 8 students approximately they have 1 professor. In 2016 there were totally approximately 11,331 students. MIT department rankings. So it's ranked like, the rankings keep fluctuating, like varying every year, right? So this year if it's number 1, next year it might be number 2 or number 5. You never know. But then also different systems have different rankings. So US News has a different ranking system, and Princeton Review has another different ranking system. So this is just to give you a rough idea of where it is. Either it's in the top 5 or like somewhere around top 20 or top 50. You just get approximate idea of what the ranking is in the US, okay? So the MIT Business School is called the Sloan Business School. It's usually ranked number 1. Sometimes Wharton is number 1, so it's at least, to give you an idea, it's in the top 5 usually. Computer science is ranked again, 1 or like, in at least in the top 5. Electrical engineering, it's usually number 1 most of the time, at least definitely in the top 5. Mechanical engineering, also number 1 or in the top 5. Chemical engineering, number 1 or like in the top 5. Civil engineering is top 8, at least like in the top 10. So remember, MIT doesn't have a medical school. So this is a picture of some of the buildings on MIT campus. Sloan Business School. So this is a picture of the Sloan Business School where the MBA classes are held. Ranked number 1 or in the top 5 for MBA. Acceptance rate about 15.8%. Average GMAT score about 716. Average undergraduate GPA 3.54. Program duration about 1.5 years. Annual tuition about $65,000. Starting salary about $118,000. And MIT Computer Science Department, usually ranked like number 1 or at least in the top 5. This is a picture of the Computer Science Department. So ranked number 1 for computer science in the US. Acceptance rate 15.8%. Average GRE score 165. Masters of Computer Science program duration about 2 years. Annual tuition about $43,000. Starting salary about $90,000. And this is a picture of the Electrical Engineering Department. It's usually ranked like consistently number 1 for many years in electrical engineering. Very, very tough to get in there, and very high pressure, very high standards. So, acceptance rate is about 15.8%. Average GRE score 165, and program duration is about 2 years for a master's in electrical engineering. Annual tuition about $43,000. Starting salary for electrical engineering graduates about $74,000. So let's now talk about the mechanical and aeronautical engineering department. So this is a picture of the mechanical engineering department. It's also ranked in the top 5 in the US. Acceptance rate 15.8%, average GRE score about 165, average undergraduate GPA 3.8, program duration is about 2 years, annual tuition about $43,000, starting salary about $69,000. So it's also ranked very high for chemical engineering. This is a picture of the chemical engineering department. And then we have like acceptance rate of 15.8%, average GRE score 165, program duration about 2 years, annual tuition about $43,000, starting salary $68,000. So this is about the chemical engineering department. So next we have the civil engineering department. So this is the civil engineering department, very beautiful campus, close to the river. Ranked like in the top 10 for civil engineering in US. Acceptance rate is about 15.8% of the grad school, and average GRE score 165. Program duration is about 2 years. Annual tuition about $43,000. Starting salary $68,000. And then we have MIT Harvard partnerships. So MIT and Harvard University, they're located so close by, they're both very prestigious. They compete with each other fiercely, but they also have partners and collaborations. So they have partnerships wherein recently they collaborated in 2012 and invested about $60 million to promote free online college level courses. Harvard MBA program has double the number of students as MIT. So in Harvard MBA, you would have about totally more than 1,800 students in first year and second year together, and in MIT we'll have only about half the number, about 800 to 900 students. So sometimes Harvard, they allow you to take a couple of elective courses from other universities including MIT, and sometimes MIT allows you to take a couple of electives from Harvard and other universities, just so you can get to network and interact with students from different universities. But you'll have to get written approval before you do that. So both Harvard and MIT each individually offer a lot of dual degree programs. So there's like MD, MPH, MD, PhD, and then at Harvard, and then there's MS MBA and MS PhD. There are all these dual degree programs. So MIT OpenCourseWare. The MIT OCW OpenCourseWare is an initiative of the Massachusetts MIT to put all of the educational materials from its undergrad and graduate level courses online, freely and openly available to anyone, anywhere. I'm a big fan of the OCW OpenCourseWare site, and it's a large-scale web-based publication of MIT course materials. So whatever is being taught at MIT, you can sit at home in the remotest villages in any part of the world, and you can watch it free. A lot of people still don't seem to know about the MIT OpenCourseWare site. Do check out ocw.mit.edu. A lot of interesting lectures, and some of the famous professors at MIT include Professor Walter Lewin of the physics department, one of my favorite professors. So his contributions in astrophysics include the discovery of the first slowly rotating neutron star through the all-sky balloon surveys and research in X-ray detection and investigations through satellites and observatories. Lewin has received awards for teaching and is known for his lectures on physics and online courses taught on edX and MIT OpenCourseWare. These lectures have been viewed online about 2 million times yearly. So he's got all these amazing lectures on undergrad level physics. Sometimes he performs all these amazing experiments in the classroom, risking his own life just to demonstrate the validity of a concept in physics. So I've watched every one of his lectures, his videos. So there's this lecture where he was demonstrating the law of conservation of momentum. So he has this huge iron ball which he touches to his chin and he releases it, and then it comes back and stops just like an inch or two away from his chin. If he released it even with a little bit of force, it would come and like break his chin. So he risks his life and he says physics works every time. So, and in this lecture he's like swinging across the classroom, trying to illustrate concepts in physics. And there's the series of lectures about electromagnetics and then quantum mechanics. So When I had doubts in physics, I would write to him and he would usually reply within a day. So there's a lot of amazing, interesting people at MIT. I had friends at MIT, and one of my friends had this amazing woman who was one of his advisors in the nanotechnology electrical engineering department. Her name was Millie Dresselhaus. She was like in her 80s and still actively researching. I think she was also the mother of 4 children. She managed to raise 4 children and also was instrumental in getting a lot of women into MIT back in those days, a few decades ago. So there are a lot of really, really amazing, inspirational people at MIT. They live in a world of their own. And a lot of interesting concerts and, events and all these interesting things. But also remember, it's a very high-pressure academic world out there. And sometimes, unfortunately, students may not be able to cope up with the pressure. Especially if you've studied, like up to high school, like 12th grade in India, and then you go to MIT for undergrad. It's a different teaching system, different world, different grading system, different types of lectures. A lot of students also undergo culture shock. They may not be able to put up with it very easily. So, happens to a lot of graduate, undergraduate, and other students too. So there's so much high pressure, competing with the best people, best of the best, the creme de la creme of the world. So sometimes, a lot of students commit suicide. Every year, at least a few students, they just jump into the Charles River and die. They think it's an easy way out, unfortunately. Remember, suicide is never a solution. So I think recently about 4 students committed suicide. The university lightened homework loads and bolstered mental health support services in an attempt to prevent further tragedy. So the ultra-competitive science and technology school is famous for its absurd pranks and hacks, which have included placing fire trucks and police cars on the campus's Great Dome. So every year these pranks happen at MIT, and people wonder how they manage to do it. So there's this great dome, and suddenly you'll see, pictures of, some floats about some birds, or, some kind of a car that's gone up there. People wonder how they did it. It's like a trick. And MIT also has a darker legacy of students suffering due to debilitating levels of stress. So it's a fun place if you're brilliant and if you have what it takes to survive. But then remember, it's a highly competitive, stressful environment, and you must have, it's good to do a lot of yoga, meditation. Meditation works like a charm every time. Now when I'm stressed out, what I do is I do the Shambhavi Mudra, like, it's like you close your eyes and tightly and your ears, and you put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, put all your 5 senses to a still, and then just focus on your breath. If you do it even for 15 minutes, you feel so rejuvenated and you can think calmly, and it reduces your TPS, thoughts per second. So basically, if you're at MIT, you better have a good system of, support, and make sure you have friends or relatives, someone to back you up. I mean, it's like, it's a high stressful situation, and if things go wrong, sometimes students, unfortunately, they don't know how to handle failure and stress, and sometimes they just think the easy way out is to commit suicide. It's a major problem at MIT, Harvard, Stanford, a lot of these top-notch universities. Cost of living near MIT, Boston, or Cambridge. So monthly rent as of the year 2016. A studio is approximately $1,800 to $2,100 per month. A 1-bed, 1-bath apartment is about $1,800 to $2,400 per month. 2-bed, 2-bath apartment about $2,100 to $2,600 per month. If you want thinking about purchasing a house, a home close to Cambridge or Boston in MIT. So cost of a 1-bed, 1-bath house approximately $300,000 to $500,000, and cost of a 3-bed, 3-bath house about $1 million to $2 million. Cost of a 5-bed, 5-bath house about $2 million to $3 million or even more. So it's a very expensive place to live in, but it may not be as expensive as San Francisco or New York. Famous MIT alumni. Kofi Annan, who was the former Secretary General of the United Nations. Raghuram Rajan, Governor of RBI. Buzz Aldrin, the second man on the moon. I remember a few years ago, there was a huge concert for his birthday. at MIT. And then there's Pranav Mistry, inventor of Sixth Sense, Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, Carly Fiorina, former CEO of HP, William Hewlett, co-founder of HP, Daniel Levin, founder of Akamai, Bob Beals, CEO of Harley-Davidson, Amar Bose, founder and chairman of Bose Corporation. So this brings us to the end of this video about studying at MIT. And after watching this, I hope you got a good insight about what it's like to study at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I hope you found this useful. Thank you.